Everyone, this is Dr. Catherine Kelly, and for Soul Wisdom Wednesday today, I want to talk a little bit about how to identify if you have a soul fracture. Now, part of this comes from a conversation I had with a client yesterday. She was reading my most recent book, Anxiety Treating Body, Mind, and Soul. And she said, wow, I think I have a soul fracture. I think I identified one when I was reading your book. And I said, oh, please tell. And she started explaining a story 30 some years ago about an interaction she had with her husband at the time. And she was very vulnerable. She was very tired. She was just in a situation where she was just overwhelmed and tired. But he very clearly and aggressively dismissed her need to take care of herself in that moment. And she did not have that memory come up for her until she was reading the book. And she said, oh my gosh, that was a soul fracture. So she was able to identify that that cut her very deeply. Something deep within her happened at that time. And I asked, well, what happened after that? And she said, I fell into a depression. And she really explained pretty clearly what had happened, how she changed, how things changed within the marriage, how things changed within the relationship. And she's now reflecting back on other events throughout her lifetime that she reacted to as a result of having that fracture. And, I've worked with her for a while too. And so it's one of those things where I was able to say, hey, do you think this situation and this situation had something to do with it? Because the details of those two situations were kind of similar in terms of what was happening at the time. Excuse me. And she says, oh my gosh, I did not put that together. That's sometimes why it takes a therapist or a soul healing practitioner to really help you tie things together. And I want to put this together for you because, again, you've heard me talk about the three levels of healing, which is intellectual healing, emotional healing, and then soul healing. The first level is putting things together. You have to have some sort of cognitive or intellectual understanding of how things got started in order for you to go, okay, and there's that aha moment. And that aha moment helps release some of the discomfort, some of the emotion that was there, because it's like, okay, wow, I put it together. Now I know where that comes from. Because as humans, we really want to understand how things happen and why they happen. And until we have that understanding, a lot of times we don't put ourselves to rest. We cannot relax into life because we're trying to figure it out in one way or another. And for her yesterday, just putting that together through reading the book and through us talking, you could hear in her voice that things were changing and that she was processing this. And I talked to her about the second level of healing and how to release the emotions that have been stored and warehoused all the way back to that time, 30 whatever years ago. And I have several different techniques that I use. And in this case, it was a soul to soul letter that I encouraged her to write. And you've probably heard me talk about those. And really, that next level of healing is for her to clean out what has been stored for so long and help her understand how, event by event, that activated wound was playing a part in how she reacted in life and how human life was really disrupted because of that event back then that fractured her soul at such a deep level. Is she a highly functional person? Yes, she can still function very highly, but that wound that she has carried for so long has really kind of disabled her in other parts of life, or at least shut down parts of life. So now it's kind of exciting because she can go do this healing. She said, wow, I've got some work to do. And I said, well, yeah, but once you do this, you clean up that wound and basically that fracture starts to heal and you feel more whole again. And she said, yes, I think I can do this healing now. So it's beautiful. It's a beautiful transformation of awareness. And it's really such a clear example of the fact that we have to do our soul work in order to move forward. If we don't do that soul work, we're going to keep tripping up over ourselves. We're going to keep finding things that we react to. And so it's really, again, that's why soul healing is so near and dear to me. I've done a ton of my own soul healing. I'm going through some stuff right now that I'm having to look back and see, okay, where are my own fractures from this particular situation? And mine happen to be from past lives that I'm really looking into and realizing, wow, okay, there is some deep wounding there. Has nothing to do basically with what's happening in this life, except for I'm having reactions that are triggering me to remember what was going on in past lives so that I can heal it. And so that's where soul healing comes in. soul wounding can happen either in our given lifetime and or it can connect into past life wounding as well. So it's just super important. I can't even tell you how important it is to heal those fractures, identify those fractures, figure out what it is that keeps tripping you up or keeps you in that, in her case, it was anxious responses to certain kinds of events that reminded her of, now that she knows, it reminded her of that soul wounding. But it took reading the book and helping her understand how all of this was connected for her to embark on this next level of healing. So I wanted to display this for you so that you can start to think about, wow, okay, so I keep tripping over this, or I keep reacting to this, I keep running into the same kind of situation, but what could it possibly be connected to from past? May not look anything like it should be connected, but in this case, for her, it really, some of the details were actually quite connected. It was just a different event in her life that was triggering the same kind of response. So, again, think about this from a soul healing perspective. Think about what you might need to heal. Think about what it is that is triggering you, and then embark on that journey of your own soul healing because it will take you further. And not only will your life become easier in this lifetime, it will become easier for future lifetimes because you're not going to be carrying those wounds into those lifetimes, and it's going to help you evolve as we figure out our soul healing, as we figure out what wounds we have, and as we transcend them, as we move beyond them, as we put two and two together to understand and intellectually do the emotional healing, that is exactly what evolution is about. Because we cannot move on if we have all these things that are tethering us to the past. And boy, is it just instrumental and it is actually absolutely essential. I guess that's the word I want to use. It's essential and imperative that we do that kind of healing for us to move on, both for releasing our discomfort from this lifetime and moving on in our own soul's evolution in general. So I hope that all made sense. Listen to this a few times if it will help you kind of really process through this, but really important stuff. And I just wanted to give you a hands-on example of how this soul healing works. Again, I'm not going to say everybody's going to get something from the Anxiety Treating Body, Mind, and Soul book, but it was beautiful because for her, it was just a prime example. It's just so beautiful to see how it goes into action. And again, that brings me, I'll get emotional when I say this, it brings me joy in such a big way for me to be able to help people in this way. Bringing ancient wisdom to the modern soul is really what I'm about. And it's applying that, what we know about past lives and how karmic healing needs to happen and all this soul healing, that is near and dear to me. And so, number one, thank you to this client if you happen to see this. And thank you to all of you for helping me learn how to help you learn as well. Sending love and light, again, wanting to bring as much ancient wisdom to the modern soul for your own life, for healing and your own evolution. I will be back soon with more information. Bye-bye.